So with the arrival of the finale of My Next Life as a Villainess, or Hamifuda for short, a Season 2 was announced. So this is overall just incredible news. As someone that has actually really enjoyed Hamifuda from start to finish, I'm very happy to see that it's getting a Season 2, because especially after this ending, like this ending of Hamifuda was kind of... it left me wanting more, because let's look at everything that happened within this episode and then also talk about the series. So firstly, I like how Katarina straight up is like, oh, Mardia could potentially get the reverse harem ending. Maybe she's just, you know, getting everybody at once. Like, it's a super hard ending. She was basically saying that this was actually a route within the game. But obviously, when she says reverse harem ending, it's actually being applied to herself. But she's just too dense to understand that. But then at the end of the episode, she's like, wait a minute. Is this the friendship ending? I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, okay, whew. Okay, let's just talk about that. So, first thing that popped in my mind, soon as I saw Katarina legitimately say that, I was like, she has transcended beyond a black hole. Like, a black hole is dense, but you're not gonna tell me at this point she is as dense as a black hole. She's denser. I don't know what's denser than a freaking black hole, but she is definitely denser than a black hole for even remotely saying she is getting the friendship ending route. I'm like, are you serious? Like, Mardia just straight up confessed to you. She even did her line. She did her line. She did her line in the game, and you straight up say friendship route ending. I'm like, oh, like, oh, okay, that gets me a little bit angry. I'm just like, really? Like, she is just so, oh, man, like, oh, my God, like, I can't believe it. But, okay, so, let's get right into it. So, Katarina, she did have a good ending within this episode, which is to be expected. I mean, this series has never really tried to present itself as like a dark series. It does have some darker moments like we saw within this episode, but overall, it's not a series meant to be very dark and depressing. It's more of a series to make you feel happy, uplifted, etc. And so, I never expected anything really bad to happen necessarily. However, that can definitely change in the next season. This is where the main important parts come in. I've seen a lot of light novels over the years, like when I've read them, that the series starts off kind of like Hamifuda has. Like, you know, you have it happy-go-lucky, it's happy, people are having a good time, etc. And then you get around, like, maybe, like, halfway through the series, or maybe 8 volumes deep into the light novel, and then all of a sudden, something really happens that radically shifts the character into an entirely new area that you never expected. And it's very likely that maybe something like that could happen. Maybe some darker things could happen, something very sad can happen, some serious growth, or, you know, maybe the title My Next Life as a Villainess might actually be really true to Katarina's, you know, actual title name of the series. Like, it really does make you wonder. But the point, though, is that with now knowing that the game is technically over, like, the actual story of the visual novel is over, and so the new content now beyond this point of the anime is actually just straight up all new stuff that Katarina has no idea what to expect. This makes things so much more fascinating, because now she's now in a world that is going beyond the story. She's going beyond the book. She's going beyond the light novel, the game, etc. She is going beyond that. She is now experiencing things that are completely fresh, brand new, and not necessarily tied to a story anymore, like a script. She now has to figure out what potentially is a doom flag or not, which could definitely lead her to having a little bit more issues of what's a doom flag or not. I could definitely see this be a big part of Season 2 of Hamifuda. So, let's actually talk about the doom flags, etc. So, I do say that if there is one thing, though, that I love about the series, I do love Katarina. But if there's also another thing I hate about this series, it is Katarina. Now, I know that sounds like, wait, what? You just said you loved and hate, and that's the truth. I love Katarina, but I also hate her, because the thing about it is that it's kind of annoying how there really isn't any development. Now, I will let it slide, because this is Season 1. And Season 1 of these type of stories don't have that type of development, but on top of that, that was never really the point. The point of this story was never about, like, her romancing someone because she was just trying to avoid her doom flags. That's literally in the title. My next life as a villainess, all routes lead to doom. So she's trying to avoid her inevitable death or exile. So I will excuse this season for that. However, going into Season 2, I do hope that the writing is a little bit different, more distinct, and it really tries to be something else. Something not what Season 1 was. Like, it doesn't have to completely change itself, but I would like something a little bit more oomph to it. I don't want to see Katarina just doing the same old cliche of being dense and not really progressing whatsoever, like no progression, because that's when a story overstays its welcome. I think if you have something continuously do the same thing over and over and over again, it just gets very old and you just don't care anymore. And I'm fine with it right now, but I want Season 2 to navigate to a different direction that will really develop Katarina and the route that she potentially is taking. Now, let's get into some serious stuff, no pun intended. So, serious in this episode of Hamifuda, he has quite the backstory, and I feel like there is a lot of details that are definitely cut out, because obviously this is based off of a light novel. So because of that, obviously there's going to be details that are cut. That's a common thing you just see. When a light novel is adapted into an anime, that happens. So it's very obvious that there is definitely things that were not truly dived into within this episode when it comes to Sirius's backstory. I do think that it did a good enough job explaining, but there was definitely some things I wish got dived into a little bit more than it did. For instance, the whole backstory and connection with the mother of, you know, Sirius, or Raphael, my bad, it's actually his real name, you know, his backstory, like his mother's backstory, and the connection to the person that kind of caused all of this, that put, you know, the student council president in this entire issue, this event throughout the beginning of, like, his early life. I wish that would have been dived into a little bit more, because there was a lot of interesting things going on there, especially with the dude with, you know, black magic, or, you know, dark magic. He was someone that was actually, you know, doing stuff that, you know, was, like, interesting. It really adds more lore to the story, and I was just like, okay, so who is his family? Like, why did he say that he wanted to go back to his family? Who was he really affiliated with? Why was he necessarily kidnapped? And, you know, there's so many things I was wondering about, and obviously this finale did not dive into that. There was a lot of blanks, and I do believe that most likely if I was to read the light novel, it would explain those details a lot. I would be able to fully understand what was going on, but it's clear that when it comes to some aspects of that backstory, it was left wide open. Like, I wish I got more information on it, because it was truly like a fascinating moment of the episode. Which, by the way, when it comes to the good parts about it, though, I do think that the way they conveyed the mother and how she's like, avenge me, but then you turn around and find out that she's like, I love you, have a good life, etc. I do like the way that was done, because when I was watching the episode, I was like, why would the mother straight up say, avenge me? Like, that's such an awful thing to say. Like, it's like, why would a mother say, avenge me to her son that she really cares about, basically to go on a rampage and get vengeance, etc. It just sounds so irresponsible, like something a really bad person would do, a bad mother would do. And I'm glad to find out that that was all in his mind. It was being manipulated. That really did not happen. The dark magic, the person that was possessing him was just forcing him to see that, but in reality, his mother said, I love you and you have a good life, etc. So I do appreciate the way that was, you know, shown. Is that the mother wasn't necessarily trying to manipulate him to carry on this conquest of revenge. You know, he just being controlled. And I do think that the way he overcame the control actually does make sense too. It took me a moment to kind of figure it out and think about, like, how was he really able to overcome the dark magic that was consuming him? Like, how did that really happen? I was just like, how did just the spirit that's been possessing him just magically leave him? And I was like, oh, it does make sense when we think about what was presented in the previous episodes with how dark magic works, how it feeds upon darker emotions, how it feeds upon, let's say, hatred, anger, sadness, etc. It, like, feeds on bad emotions, and because of his emotions and how he's being manipulated in that tragic moment with his mother, he was being manipulated in a way to where, like, he just wanted nothing but vengeance. But once Katarina kind of woke him up and made him realize that it's not necessarily what his mother wanted, but also there was more to the story than what he actually remembered, then those emotions slowly started to fade. And when he kind of confronted the man as like, I don't want to be like this anymore, those emotions faded, and obviously that's how he was no longer possessed. So I do think when it comes to him not being possessed, it makes perfect sense, actually. The way it's been explained with dark magic, it did a good job. So, no complaints there. So, besides all that, I guess all is well ends well. Like, everything did end relatively peacefully. You even have the student council president, Raphael, how he pops back up within this episode, and he's now officially joined Katarina's harem to help her out on her conquest to get the friendship ending. I can't believe that freaking happened. Like, oh my goodness. But, with that, though, there is a few funny moments to leave this series on, and that is the edible bouquet, which, okay, I'm not gonna lie, that is actually very smart, very intelligent. I like the way Katarina talked about that, because I was like, you know what? That makes sense. I don't know how many people would actually like being gifted fruits and vegetables like that, but I do think that what Katarina said actually makes so much sense when it came to when she got that, the one that loves her, Nicola, how he's like, she's like, oh, here you go, you can have something to eat when you get home. I think edible bouquets make so much sense, because let's be honest here, flowers are beautiful, they're nice, etc., but once you get the bouquet, you take them home, you're gonna put them in a, I guess a pot of water, a jar of water, whatever, and they're gonna die in about a few days. And it's just like, at least with edible bouquet that Katarina gave him, he's going to be able to eat something. He's going to be able to have something very nutritious to help him out, and it's not going to go to waste, basically. I do think that is very intelligent. That is honestly one of the smartest things that Katarina has done within this story. I will give her 100% praise. I really will, because that was honestly high IQ stuff. But okay, with that out of the way, that's about it. I think that overall, Hamifruta was a fun series. I had a good time watching it. I do not regret it whatsoever. I'm definitely looking forward to watching Season 2. But like I said, I do hope that Season 2 goes into territory and expands upon it and doesn't try to just play it safe anymore, since now that we're beyond the game story, we can go into something very different. I do hope that Season 2 has a lot to offer, but I am looking forward to it. I know it's probably going to be fun as always, because this has been a very fantastic anime. Can't wait to see more. But, I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.